Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Here we go. We are starting in 3, 2, 1. Welcome, everybody. We are super excited, even ourselves, because this is our first time seeing each other live. Usually we are recording ourselves, and we've been having some technical issues with that. And so we are doing what was probably easiest from the beginning, but we're doing it. We're doing it now. We are live and direct and ready to go on this nice, lovely Zoom-in situation. Happy New Year to everybody.
New Year.
Hopefully
2022.
Yeah, 2022, man. I don't know if you've ever had those dudes. Like, it used to be a really, really big thing for me. And I remember years, like recently, it hasn't been. I've been like sleep at noon and woke up and been like, what? It's midnight? Oh, hey, Happy New Year. And right back to sleep. It's crazy. It's crazy. But y'all are looking nice over there. Your house is all nicely nice. You look like you're ready for the New Year's.
Not really. The Christmas tree is still there.
You know what's crazy though? I remember one year we left our stuff up the entire year and didn't realize it until Christmas came back around. We're like, oh, it's time to oh, everything's already up. Okay. All right, we're good to go.
The Christmas tree too?
Maybe not the tree. We might have thrown, because I think we were still doing live trees at that time. So, we would go throw them out because they get dumped. Yeah. They get, the dumpster will pick them up, or the trash will pick it up. But everything else, like the stockings, the little ball, everything, we just like had left it up. We was just doing our thing. Didn't have a lot of company over, I guess, that year to make us think about what our house was looking like. And so we just had everything up. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Yeah, that happens. People still do that now. You can ride throughout the year and still see people still have their Christmas stuff up. They just don't take it down. Like their lights and stuff is still up.
Dude,
but they just don't
tell you.
They don't take it down and they don't turn it on until Christmas.
Yes. See, that's thinking smart. Because what, man, if you go up there and you done hung all these things up, you want to do that every year? Oh no.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. People just be like, look, Christmas is coming. This is encouragement for you.
Right.
Yeah.
It'll be here before you know it.
Yeah, it'll be here. Don't worry. I know it's July, but don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll give you a little flicker. That's our fireworks real quick. And then you
Right.
Yeah. Well, we got a good topic to start off the new year. Of course, resolutions are the thing that people do. And us being a love and relationship podcast, we got relationship resolutions for everybody today. We'll get into that in a second, but let's check it. So what's going on with you? What's new with you at this particular moment?
What's new with me is I am learning that I really don't care anymore. I think when it comes to other people and their problems, I'm as 40 has, I'm in it, a month in, I'm in it. So I'm like, you know what? I don't care. I don't care. I don't answer my mom's calls anymore all the time. Because I learned that at first I was like, okay, I'm going to answer all of them just in case, because we take care of our grandmother together, or her mom, my grandmother, she has dementia. And so I would go, let me answer it just in case, something might be wrong with grandma. But then I'm like, you know what? If something's wrong, she'll call me back right away. Like if I don't answer the first time, she's going to call me back the second time. Yeah. Now I really screen her calls. So I'm like,
The maturity.
She's just calling nothing. She's just calling to say, oh, what you doing? I'm like, I'm working. Oh, okay. Yeah. And then silence. I mean, like, what do you want? What do you want? Because I've had to pause whatever I'm watching
Mercy.
or listen to keep myself going for work just to hear you say nothing. So I screen her calls. I don't care not like I don't care in a mean way, but just like,
it is what it is.
I don't want to waste my time. That's what it is. I'm not in a season of wasting my time, So I'm taking my time back. That's what's new with me. I'm learning to take.
You're reclaiming your time.
I'm reclaiming my time.
Right, like Auntie Maxine done told us. All right, yes. Yeah.
That's basically, just I'm getting in the swing of knowing what I want and what I don't want and sticking to it, basically. So that's what's new with me. What about you?
Man, nothing new what's new with me is these kids are going back to school, but they have these, I like it, but I don't, but I do. Let me end with the positive. So every time they have a break, like a big break, the first week back is almost like kind of like a quarantine week, so they're like, all right, we're going to do the virtual school for the first week. Let any COVID you got, brush it off and let it die off. And then we'll let you back into school. So it's good, but man, that first week is like when you want to, especially like it's the first week of the new year and you're like, dude, I'm ready to get popping. I got ideas. I'm ready to just get this fresh start and just get rolling. But the productivity when the kids are in the house all day just goes slowly down and down and down. So that is a fun thing that I'm dealing with this week. I'm like a supervisor of classroom work. It's like I'm like, like when the substitute teacher comes in and they don't really teach nothing. They just like, all right, I'm supposed to be doing page 5 and page 6. Make sure you're doing it. That's what I'm doing right now. Just making sure they stay off of YouTube and all of their anime websites and computer games and do their work. So that's taking up quite a bit of time, but it's all good. It's all good. Yeah. Well, but that's pretty much what's new. Otherwise, we just grinding. Wife back in school. Excited. She got 2 quarters left, and then she will be done with her 2nd degree. Man, she is killing the game.
I give so much respect to people who can actually go to school and then go to school again.
Yeah, I know, right? Whew. And she's doing it in another country. So her first degree was in Korea, and then now she's doing it in America. So I'm like, dude, double props to you. Degree in 2 languages. That's dope. So cheering her on. The only sad part about that is when she's done, then we're gonna have to move into a house like in the real world with like real prices. We live in a nice house, man. It's got its own lot. It's got its own backyard, own everything for like dirt cheap prices. Because it's the school, it's the university's like housing system.
Gotcha.
But then we're gonna go in the real world, and we might have to like go back to either a small house where there's like really close quarters, or like an apartment situation where it's really, really like literally people on top of each other. And when you have 3 kiddos.
Oh gosh!
Who are young and running around.
Oh my!
You be like, Lord, please let us get the bottom floor. If we don't get the bottom floor, they're gonna kick us out of here because them kids is gonna be running. Fun.
That's so much fun. So much fun.
Yeah.
So much fun.
But that's where we at with it. That's where we at with it.
Well, that's cool. Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and get into this episode today.
Yeah. Oh, real quick. We're still trying to build our audience, folks. So please listen yourself and share it with 5 friends. I'm going to do how we do it at church. Bring one neighbor to the meeting. Everybody bring 1 friend this week, and next week, and share it on. But because it's the internet, you can share with 10 people at a time.
Everybody,
Just spread the love. What do we say?
Right.
Tell your brother, tell your friends.
Tell your mother, tell your sister, tell your brother, tell your friends, tell your enemies. It's so easy to click that share button. So you're going to like us. You're going to hit the subscribe button so you can get all the notifications when we're going to, and then you can share us. And then when you're listening to us on Spotify and Anchor and Google and Apple, Just make sure you give us a good 5-star rating so we can get in the algorithm.
Exactly.
And then you can still share. It's so easy to share. Just share.
Yeah, it's a button click.
Share.
Click, clap. And then you're good to go. That's all you gotta do. That's all you gotta do. Whatever. That looks like something. Anyway, all right, let's keep it moving. Yeah, but let's go ahead, man. Let's jump into this relationship resolutions. So I guess before we get into that part, there was a sigh of sorrow heard round the internet's world. A couple that has been somewhat of a pillar of hope, I suppose.
Right. Yeah.
Megan Good and Devon Franklin.
Yeah, you almost want to let's pour one for the homie.
I know, and it's like, this is a couple of weeks back now that it's been out there. Now this is crazy because at first, the way people thought about them is kind of how people used to think about Will and Jada.
Yeah.
And then they didn't open up all their stuff, and you're like, "Oh God, no, we're sick of them." We talked about that.
Right.
That's the dude with the band, and
yes.
But Megan and Devon, this is a little bit different because they were very much into the traditional values of marriage and within the framework of Christianity too. They were both, I mean, not were, they are, they both believe in God. They both, that's both part of their lives. But yeah, this is interesting. Now, here's another element to our conversation that's going to be interesting. I actually know Devon.
Oh,
not like know him like from the industry and all, or like I follow him on social media. I mean, I know this dude, not real well, but from when we're like 10, 11 years old.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Like we both grew up in the Bay Area, up in Oakland, California, and went to like all the same like church functions. And when they would have like the big concerts where all the churches in the area come together, and like we got a singing group, they church got a singing group, and that. So we know him from like all of that. One of his cousins is my best friend in the world. So when people talk about him, I'm not his family member, but I know tons of his family member like really well, very, very familiar. So I kind of have like a little different take and a little different feeling than kind of when we talk about sort of like people that are just in the public that we don't know.
Right.
I can tell you from every experience that I've ever had with him, even from when he was a younger dude, he was always real straight up, real kind, friendly. I mean, it's definitely was, he's like what he is online is like really what he is,
Right.
So it's good to kind of know that information, because when I see his posts and things, I'll be like, okay, I think this is completely genuine. I don't think this is like a publicist thing. I don't think this is anybody other than, he and Megan probably did talk and have this conversation and decide this is what they wanted to share with the world. But anyway, so that I just preface this with that in case any kind of bias comes out that I can't see. That might be why. Yeah. But what are your thoughts? I don't know. What do you think?
The first thing is, I hope that the people who bought their book, The Wait, or download their apps or their journals or whatever they had that they used for the Wait project, that they don't go, oh, well, they didn't do it, so I guess I don't do it. I think that was the first thing that came to my head, because it was like they became like a personified like platform. Like this is the poster child couple for you can wait and have a successful marriage. Like you can do it God's way and it still be good. Yeah. And then because what people tend to do is as soon as they see somebody who they believed in and it doesn't go the way that we want it to go, oh, well, I guess I can go ahead and get off this boat now, because if they couldn't do it, you know, if they, who I think has this so much maturity in their faith and have all this money and they look and they're beautiful and they have, you know, all this thing going on, how come they couldn't get it together? And it's the bottom line at the end of the day is they're people. They're still people. They're still humans, and marriages don't always work out, unfortunately. And we don't know what really happened. There's rumors about not having a baby yet. It's a whole bunch of stuff, but at the end of the day, they're still people. Right. Because I looked at it as the same way as my marriage that I had. When we got divorced, I would hear people say, oh, I never thought you and David would get a divorce. I never thought, you know, I never thought, like, y'all were just so, and it's like people don't know what's going on behind the scenes. And you don't know what's going on in each individual's head in their life, you know, faith-wise or, you know, personal. You just don't know. So I don't know. The flip side to that is, of course, you know, people are going to be attacking her. I think people are going to be coming for her more than going to be coming for him. Why? Because them getting together was already a what? He's going to be with her like she was a stripper. She wasn't. I'm not knocking the stripper and say that's your job or whatever. Yeah. I'm just saying they looked at her as he had picked up a hooker off the street like Pretty Woman. Yikes. And she was just not on the same, as far as optics. People are going to look at her as, oh, she was never on the same level as him when it came to her Christian walk. But we don't know that. Right. We don't know. We only know what he says, and we only know what she says. And I just don't want people to attack her, because now all the videos have come back out when they were at Pastor Touré Roberts' church with Sarah J. Roberts, and they did the interview, and someone came and attacked her, and he was like always defending her. And you know, this is why they because he always had to defend her. So my thing is, my question to you before we get into the meat and potatoes of today, as a pastor, because this is going to be a question that's going to go through the entire church community. I can feel it. As a pastor, how important is it for you to be equally yoked with someone, not just in the optics, but like really on the whole level? Because I think a lot of people thought they weren't equally yoked based on their jobs, their careers. Like he's a pastor. Yes, he was in the industry. He's in the film industry. He's making movies, but the way she's making movies was different than the way that he was making movies. Yeah. He was making miracle movies and nativity movies and all faith-based stuff. And her movies were still kind of risque. Her pictures and stuff like that were still kind of risque. Even her, the current, you know, show that she has right now on Amazon Prime called Harlem. I watched it. Don't come for me, but I did. I watched it. I wanted to see what it was all about, and it ain't clean. I'm gonna let you know, but it's still in the same realm of what we were introduced to Megan Good as. You know, she was very sexualized. They made her this sex symbol in the Hollywood world. So how important is that? Do you think that the optics of it looks like unequally yoked? This is why it didn't work out?
You know, so the first thing that I do when somebody would come with a question like, is equally yoked and that thing, I ask them, what are your criteria for equally yoked? Because I think someone, it's like, say for example, Tyler Perry did this movie, Alex Cross. Tyler Perry right now, he pretty much, he curses, he does whatever in his freedom. But if I look at his spirituality, I wouldn't question it at all. I would still say it's at a very, very extremely high level, which is some people would look at how because he's had like a trajectory of, I was all Christian, everything, da 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 da, and I was funny, but I was still Christian, da 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 da. And then now, if they look at him, they'll be like, wow, he really has kind of like opened up a little bit on being less strict with the way he carries himself and presents himself in public. But I wouldn't, like I said, I would still say he's very highly spiritual in his personal self and being and who he is. When I think of Megan and Devon, like I said, I don't know, but I feel like they might have different focuses on life. Like the way that they talked about, like, I don't know if you saw the post that Devon had on his page, but the way that they talked about it, it said the way he worded it was like something about like our futures going forward, right? And it's almost like not necessarily that they have different values than each other, but maybe they have different goals in life, and those things are a little bit different. So in that sense, if you look at it, I would say maybe that's not necessarily a thing of unequally yoked in terms of like where they are spiritually, which is what most Christians mean. They'd be like, okay, I'm Baptist, you Baptist, or I'm Presbyterian, you Presbyterian. Which one? Northern Orthodox, whatever, and that's kind of where they do, which is really very kind of like, it's good because you can share some things, but it's very surface level. When it comes to somebody's deep spirituality, there's like a lot of layers to that. And I think they could be spiritually in a same realm, but have different life goals that are such that they have decided it is better to do it separately, right? And that's a very mature thing. Nobody. The question I wonder with people is, do you ever think that the Holy Spirit leads people apart for their personal development, right? Because if God's job is like overall good for us, maybe y'all are good friends, and you did have a really deep connection, and maybe that that bond will probably be there forever. However, maybe some of the intricate details of their lives, God is actually leading them apart to do different things as well. I know that kind of makes people uncomfortable because they're like, what God has joined together, let no man put asunder, in the King James English, quoted. But it's like, but it's like, we like to put a box on how God operates, but God doesn't fit in that box. Perhaps maybe there's something that people need to learn about how to gracefully end a relationship that they can teach. Maybe they'll write a book on that. Who knows? And that will be very helpful, because there are ugly breakups and then there are civil ones. Like my parents were one of those couples that was like, man, I can't believe you guys are getting divorced. But their relationship is actually really good, and whenever we're around, whenever they're dealing with each other, it's never ugly. It's never like tension, or it's like, oh shoot, mom's here. Oh, dad's gonna be okay. Or, oh man, I didn't know dad was coming to this. Why didn't you tell? It's like, no, everybody's good, and they still able to be more than civil. It's actually there's still care and consideration for them. So I think that we do need those models in the world as well. And I think that Megan and Devon probably still can be a good model of how mature, God-led people can exist in a supportive way that is not toxic, and that still develops healthy relationship. So I'm interested to see that part of the story. And how it is moving forward. Probably, now they'll be able to connect with a whole other group of people that maybe weren't open to them before, because maybe they had divorced and they were bitter about it. And they're like, oh, I can't stand all this love stuff. This is not my reality. Throw it in the trash. But now there's going to be a new perspective that both of them will be able to share. And I'm interested to see how things go forward doing that. So I wish them all the best. They seem like they're doing great. They're still supporting each other's ventures and successes. And I'm still interested to learn from them.
Yeah, me too. And I want to piggyback on that and say that equally yoked does not always mean spiritual. You must also look at equally yoked as, are we equal on where we want to be in life and what we want to achieve, in life? Because sometimes we can be so focused on having a mate that we don't ask the right questions. And that doesn't mean they didn't ask the right questions, but there is the rumor that he wants children and she's not ready. So you have to make sure that if that is the truth, and even if it's not, that is also an example, like you're saying, for people to ask the right questions.
Yeah.
Do you want children, and when do you want to have them? Not just, yes, I want kids, but when do you want to have them?
Yeah.
Because if you're a woman and you want to have kids and he doesn't want to have kids for 10 years and you're 35, the clock is ticking, because as you get older in your 30s and your 40s as a woman, you might not have the easy get pregnant. You might have to go through a lot of things to get pregnant. So just, ask the right questions, and, don't talk about them. Don't judge them in a way where it's negative, but just pray for them, because they need prayer. Even though whatever the reason, people need prayer when they're going through divorce, because divorce sometimes cannot be pretty. And even if it's amicable, it's still a hurt. It's still it's like a death in your life that you have to see that person over and over again. It's not like somebody died and then you don't see him no more. He's going to have to see her a lot in the industry, and she's going to have to see him. So hopefully they can remain friends and cordial, and they will get whatever they are looking for in life. Whenever
I feel when I look at them, or like when I read Devon's post, and I haven't seen anything with Megan because I don't follow her, but the way that they seem to have handled this, I mean, I feel like I have confidence in them that they're gonna be really good. I mean, like, I feel like they know how to manage themselves well. It's like, it's not gonna get messy. Like, it's not gonna be a Kanye West and Kim thing where every 2 seconds, I still call it, like he's on the podcast with Noriega talking about, I'm still calling her my wife, I ain't got no papers yet. And then, it's just like, it's just a message. It's like, oh my God, whatever. I hope you guys work it out. But for them, I feel like, nah, man, they good. They got their stuff. They are, they're solid folks. They're going to be good,
Right.
Right, and I hope people too feel like, if you see your relationship going that way, and you can try to work on it and go to therapy and talk about it and those things. But if you see that it's better to end, I hope that people are mature enough and brave enough to find ways to end gracefully.
Right.
That's another takeaway, because I feel like they did that. I feel like they ended gracefully, or that part of their relationship. Yeah.
Right. So, well, that's it for that. I don't want to touch it no more.
Yeah.
I just told you when I didn't judge. I don't want to touch on it anymore, but hey.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. Time will tell, and there will be much to learn, because they're both very public, and they'll be out there. They'll be out there.
Unfortunately, it's unfortunate, but all right, y'all. So let's go ahead and skip on down. It's
we're gonna try to help you avoid that.
Stay together
with some of these suggestions here.
Let's stay together.
Yeah, let's
try to stay together and date right, marry right, stay together right. Hey, it is what it is. So
yeah. All
right. So it's a new year.
Yeah.
We got some relationship resolutions. Not relationship goals. Not relationship goals. If you don't know anything else you learn from this lesson, then don't make people your relationship goals.
Yeah.
Make your own relationship goals. And keep waiting if you want to wait. If you want to wait, keep waiting.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Don't feel pressure from folks, man. And because dating and relationships, man, they are tricky. Even the good ones, even the best experiences have their
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I did not see that coming right there.
Right.
So hopefully our suggestions today are going to really help you kind of like jumpstart things off with a bang, perhaps literally, in 2022. We keeps it real here. But yeah, in the love department, man, we want you to do good. So we got dating ones and we've got relationship ones, like maybe if you're already in a relationship. So we're just gonna bounce back and forth between those. Right. Let's start with a good dating one.
Okay. Yeah. So I found a good one, a dating advice. So we found some advice from websites that tell us how to date and how to be in relationships. And we're just gonna tell you what they are and then give you our feedback and see if they're really good advice or not so good advice. Yes, so this one is clean up your life was it wasn't number one on the list, but I think it should have been number one. Their first one was about changing your profile, but cleaning up your life is important. So this came from the New Year's 2022 dating resolutions for singles. isthesmile.com, I think that's what it's called. Mm-hmm. But it says to accept your previous failed experiences. You can't change the past. So, you know, whatever happened in the past, it happened, accept it, it failed, but move on. And it says also to analyze a circle of your friends. And the question they ask is there somebody who unfavorably affects your love life? If your buddies spend evenings talking about women with disrespect or convincing you that committed relationships are only for losers, you don't need them. There is nothing good about such an atmosphere. And vice versa. If you have a circle of women friends who are always talking about how men are trash and are dogs and not good for anything, then they're saying that you need to change your circle of friends because they're not helping you succeed in your love life. So what do you think about that? Do you think that is good advice? Or
amen, praise the Lord. Amen, praise, especially the circle of friends things, man. I remember. Yes. Okay, so I'm coming at this from early marriage, so it's a little bit more than dating, but this hits home. I had a buddy that called me, and he was like, "So how's your marriage going?" I was like, "It's cool. What are you talking about?" He goes, "Dude, you can be honest with me." Because my wife is Korean and I'm not Korean. And he was also not Korean. He was American and his wife was Korean. And I guess his relationship was not going well. They weren't gelling well or whatever. And so he was trying to project that on to me, be like, dude, seriously, tell me how your relationship is going. I know I got a Korean wife as well. I was like, bro, I'm about to punch you through this freaking phone, man. My relationship is fine. And I remember having friends when I was younger that would kind of talk about like, what was the Chris Brown, these hoes ain't loyal. Like, bro, you are, I don't know who you with, but these are not the people. These are not the people, dude. Like, it will really mess you up because you will start to get into a relationship and it feels good and you like it and you want to be in it. And then your friend will be in your head and you'll be like, nah, I got to back off. And you'll be blocking your own blessings. Right. So for me, amen. Praise the Lord. Yes.
Yeah.
This is a good one.
Yeah. I agree. I think the first one, accept your previous failed experiences, accept them. Because sometimes we dwell on them like, oh, you know, and especially women, you know, I think women more than men. If you got involved with a man and you thought he was the one, or you thought he was the one that you chose to spend the rest of your life with and do life with, and then he turns out to be a bad apple, and you're like, dang, how come I didn't see that worm crawling out of that apple?
It was right
and
there.
Then it was right there. And you can dwell on it too much and think that, the next, situation or relationship is going to be the same. And it's not. It's just like, it's basically learning from learning from it, let it be a lesson and keep it moving. And then absolutely the circle of friends, because even when you're married, and I know this is a dating part, but even when you're married, also, if you are the only married person in your group and all your friends are single, you need to distance yourself just a little bit. Not to say you can't hang out with them anymore, but you have to know your boundaries, because if your single friends are trying to get you to go against what you and your spouse have already set up in your partnership, then that's not the kind of friend you want to have. If they're trying to get you to go to a strip club and you're not supposed to be going, or, you know, they're trying to get you to go to the male review, you know, you're not supposed to be going there, you know, you got to analyze who they are, especially like you said, you know, people like misery loves company. And if they're having a horrible relationship or even a horrible dating go at it, they're gonna go, oh, you know, I'm feeling like this. You got to feel like this too with me. You're like, no, I'm good.
We
they're like, no, it's got to be something. Right. It's got to be something. Like, no, I'm good. And so you should want to have people in your life who are pushing you in the right direction. Right. Even if it's going bad in theirs, they go, you know what? Hey, look, it's going bad in mine, but I hope it keeps going good in yours, you know? So yeah, I think that was a good one.
Yeah.
That was a good
one. I vote good. All the way around, good. Through and through. Okay, I want to do some for a relationship, and I want to put this why in there. This was such a good why for us to think about. I was looking at this article called 23 Little Ways to Improve Your Relationship According to Experts. It's from bustle.com. Check them out. And what they said here is that, look, you can have a really strong connection as a couple, but it's so important to maintain the spark, because if you're not putting forth this constant effort, regular effort with your partner, then here's what might eventually happen. You might find yourself stuck in a loop of recurring problems, and you're like, dude, why do we always keep coming back to this? You don't know, because you haven't been working on it. The second thing is you start living a boring routine that winds up driving you apart. And then you might even actually end your relationship. It's like, man, this is so unfulfilling. I can't even deal with this anymore. But some of the ways to prevent this, because here's what we come in with the relationship stuff, is there's things that you can do in your little everyday life to help kind of bolster that stuff up, right? Like, I mean, something simple like, you know, a little text in the middle of the day, like a funny or romantic text, you know, send a little GIF, a little emoji. And I got to tell you, man, that stuff works. I do that with my wife every once in a while. I'll see something funny, I'll send it to her. One thing that I do, and it's even on our list here, is if I find like a good love song that makes me think of her, because you know you can be sending YouTube links and stuff. I'll be like, hey, this song made me think of you, and you can send the thing right in the text. They can hit that link and they can play it, and they can be like, you know, right in the moment. So there's all these kind of good little things. But the thing is, all of those things can help you kind of like prioritize each other. And the key term here is intentionality. All right. If I may borrow from one of a group of philosophers from the R&B world, Brownstone says it best, and I quote, "Ooh yeah, yahoo! I don't want to rain on this parade, but I'm starting to question the love that was made. I'm not looking for just an affair. I want love that is based on truth, not just there. You will not hurt my pride if right now you decide that you're not ready to settle down. But if you want my heart in the light and the dark, it's time that you start to act like you're mine in the light and the dark. If you love me, say it. If you trust me, do it. Do it. If you want me, show it. If you need me, prove it."
I love that song.
That's some good words. You know what I'm saying? That song is off the chain, by the way. But yeah, you got to be intentional with the relationships. Yeah. And so the first one I have, it kind of comes from the dating realm. Everybody knows the phrase "shoot your shot," and the whole kind of like concept behind "shoot your shot" is you're not sure. There's something you want. There's a crush that you have, whatever, and go for it. Just go for it. Here's how I want to sort of like borrow from that for the relationship world. There are things that maybe you expect or that you think would be really nice in your relationship, but you're not sure if your partner is down with that. However, you're never gonna know unless you say it, show it, do it, whatever, you know? Like for me, early on when my wife and I were married, we first got married, she really liked holding hands. She really liked having like names for each other, like honey, baby. I was never really like that. I just, not that I was against it. I just never really thought about it. And so it wasn't until she said to me, hey, are you going to hold my hand for like on a date? You know? Right. Or she's like, you know, because when I would call her, I would just call her by her first name. She's like, you know, when you call me by my first name, I kind of feel like you're like my dad. You know, like I'm not, you know, like I'm not your daughter. Am I in trouble or something? You know, her name is Jawan. She would be calling me like, hey, Jawan. She's like, you say it like so harsh and like, am I in trouble or something? He's like, why don't you call me something else? Like honey, baby, whatever. Or the Korean word for it is chagiya. She's like, why don't you call me that? You know, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, sure. You know, so if you don't shoot your shot, you don't say what you want, it's never gonna happen. But I think you can do it because I like that. I actually liked that she wanted that kind of stuff, you know. Sometimes guys is like, I don't know, like, man, you know, they might want me to be like more masculine, like they feel like they can depend on me, so I got to be kind of like more tough, you know. I don't mind holding hands and stuff like that, but you know. So my thoughts on that were, I think shoot your shot is a good thing. What are your thoughts?
I think that's really good. It's basically, you know, trying to introduce something new into the relationship to keep the spark going, you know, because you can get on a hamster wheel. They're just going around and around and around. You know, you eat the same thing all the time and you go to the same, you know, you go to the same place, you do the same thing, you watch the same TV show, you know, you have sex the same way. Yeah. You got to spice it up, you know? And I think shooting your shot in the relationship that's very good. That's a good way to look at it in relationships. Because usually you hear shooting your shot is all in like, you know, somebody you haven't met yet. But shooting your shot in relationships are really good because you never know that your spouse may be thinking the same thing. They just weren't, you know, aware that you want the same thing. You know, that's why it's so important to communicate and have that open door policy in your relationship to say, whatever you say to me is okay. Whatever you suggest is okay. I may not agree with it, but it's okay. You know, so she had to tell you, hey, call me baby, call me honey. Because I think those words, they make you feel wanted. They make it feels more intimate and personal because everybody, especially if you work anywhere, everybody is calling you your name. You know, but when it comes from your significant other, you want to hear baby and honey and sweetie and whatever little cute names you give to each other. That's like me. I hear mom all day. So like when you say she wants to hear her name, like, I want to hear my name. I'm the opposite. I want to hear. I don't hear Tierra at all. Like unless my mom calls me and she can't hear me. I go, can you hear me? And then she goes, Tierra. I don't hear Tierra. My nephews and my nieces, they call me Auntie TT. So even my sister, you know, people text or whatever and stuff like that. Nobody says my name. They just, hey, you know, hey, whatever. It's never, I don't hear my name. So yeah, I understand where she's coming from. So yeah. Shoot your shot. Introduce something new.
Yeah, it's good, and it's like it also gives you permission, you know, like you said, it's something that you kind of like both want, but you're not sure. somebody says it, then you're like, okay. Yeah, we both we can be cool about this, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. It's like it's a fun thing.
Cool.
Huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That's good. That's good.
All right. We're 2 for 2. Yeah.
That's good.
This is good.
All right. Number 2. So dating advice number 2 that they said was in the new year, you need to learn to say no. Okay. And so here's what they said. They said, 1, learn not to waste your evenings on people who go on dates just to kill time. I've done that.
Wow. I've heard that as advice. The opposite way.
Yeah.
The kill time version. Yeah. Like you ain't got nothing to do.
Yeah. Those are the those are in the meantime dates. Like, I guess I'll go out with you right now while I'm really waiting for the one I really want to talk to.
Mercy.
I'm just, hey. The other thing they said was, I know, as well as on those, don't waste your time on people who just kill time, and don't waste your time on those who are looking only for sexual adventures. It says saying yes to a rendezvous with a woman or a man you don't really like is not a good idea either. So you horny, yeah, you're Christian, but not, or you might not be a Christian, whatever you are, you know that person that you're about to have sex with is not who you want to be with, and it's gonna be meaningless sex. So why waste your time on meaningless sex? And they also said you may have heard it's to be alone in a relationship with someone you are not interested in. So spending nights with that person as well will still keep you lonely. So what is the point? So
dang, I never thought of that like that. You're still lonely.
What's the point? You're still lonely.
Wow,
you're still lonely.
That might even be more of an annoying kind of lonely, because you got to now deal with a person. You're like, I don't want to talk to you, dude. Shut up.
I know. You just
like, dude, I'm trying to watch this Netflix movie. Shut up.
Why are you talking to me? Why are you here?
Why are you here? Why are you even here?
Why are you here?
Oh my gosh. That's hilarious. Dang.
Yeah. So I agree with all this. I agree not to waste your evenings on people who just want to have kill time, or you just want to have kill time, because I've done that. And it's a waste of time, because I come back from the date and I hear, well, how was it? And I go, the food was good. I already knew this person was not a good fit for me. But it's always like that person that's like always hounding you. Can I take you out? Can I take you out? Can I take you out? I'm like, I don't want to be mean and say, but I should have just said, you know what? I don't think you and I were really meshed. I don't want to waste your time, and I don't want to waste your money. So that's what I should have said. But what did I say? Sure. I'll finally say, oh, look, okay, I'm free this night. Let me make sure I got my babysitter, and let's go. And so I'll go out. I'll
good money.
And I gotta get a babysitter too. So I'm really like, I should have been saving that babysitter for another time. It's a waste of time. So yeah.
Dang,
and then like cool. I said, hooking up with people who you really don't want to have sex with. I mean, at this point in my life, I know we're going to talk about this in another episode, but I don't want to have sex with anyone that I'm not going to choose to do life with. Point, period, blank. I mean, we may have a good vibe. There may be sexual energy there, but I want it to be more than that. So getting involved with people sexually, or even getting in a relationship with someone that you're not really interested in, you will still feel lonely. You will still not be happy, because at the end of the day, you're going to go home, or he's going to leave the house, or she's going to leave the house, and you're still going to feel empty inside, because you're trying to fill a void of loneliness that you shouldn't be trying to fill with another person. You should know how to be content in your alone time by yourself, and from a faith-based standpoint with God. Spend that time studying God and preparing for who you're supposed to be with, and not with not with entertaining the wrong people, because I have entertained a lot of frogs. I have kissed a lot of toads. I have laid down a lot of dogs and got some fleas, and I don't. Mercy. I don't want to do that anymore. What do you think? You think this is good advice or bad advice?
I think it's good, man. I think I that really hit me, that the thing is that you're still alone. You're actually not even fulfilling the whole point and purpose of trying to connect. It's like you're literally you're using your energy and you're adding like a bunch of extra baggage that you don't need. Like if you like sexually get all these different people and experiences in your head, and especially if a lot of them weren't good or they weren't even fulfilling or whatever, then they're going. It's like other junk that you now have that you didn't have to have. You know, when you could just be free with it, with the ones that you truly did want to enjoy with. So yeah, I think this is good, man.
This is good. Yeah, that's good. I haven't found a bad advice plan.
Yeah. No, I got it.
What's your son?
Okay, here's another one. It says, pay attention to the small things. Okay, it's easy to overlook little things. Things like saying good morning to your partner, hugging each other before you go to bed. These are like kind of like small things, but they're really important parts of your day, like parts that you can look forward to. Hey, if you go home, if you had a hard day at work and you walk in the door and your person gives you a hug, that already can just make it better. Versus if they're like still at the table reading their whatever, like, oh, hey, what's up? And you're just like, hey. You just like go back. You know what I'm saying?
Right. You see me?
Am I here? Do I even exist to you?
I'm a whole person.
Literally, like those moments make you feel seen, and they make you feel like still connected. It also helps you to get, if you kind of like have that practice of like regularly acknowledging your partner and you think of them and they're regularly kind of like in your mind, then when bigger moments come, you'll be like naturally ready to do it. Like I remember one of the things that was really tough when we had our first child on Father's Day. I had this wedding that I had to go to. So I didn't have a lot of time. I don't know why my friend planned his wedding on Father's Day. Maybe that was the only time he could get to video, whatever. But, it was my buddy. I was like, all right, fine, man. It's my first year being a father and I got to spend most of the day at this wedding. I told him, like, look, man, I'm leaving. As soon as the wedding's over, I'm out of here. Okay. I'm going to walk you down the aisle and then I'm out. I ain't going to stay and do all the dancing and all that. I'm done. We go wedding. You're married. Right. All right. Dap you up. Blessings on you. But one of the things that happened on that day, my wife didn't say Happy Father's Day to me. And it was the first Father's Day that I ever had. And I didn't really think it was going to bother me all that day. And I was like, maybe she just didn't get a chance to. We were busy. Like I had to get dressed. I had to go out to the wedding, whatever. Right. Maybe she's doing to go home. But by the time I got home, because you got a new baby, so she's tired. She's like sleep and whatever. So the whole day goes by and nobody told me Happy Father's Day. Or, she didn't. And I thought I would have been okay with it. But the next day I got really mad. And I was like, dude, that was my first Father's Day. And it didn't work, And so that was like a bigger version of it. But I realized that can happen on a smaller scale level. Like if you don't say those things to, and like I said to her, she was a new mother and she had all kinds of stuff going on. So it's not like it was like she was just being spiteful, like she's just trying to withhold it from, but it just made me think like, yeah, man, those little things are really helpful and important to acknowledge, to make your partner feel seen and stuff. So that's what I was thinking about. That's good in a relationship. If you do it in the little things, it helps at the little times, and then also becomes your nature as you're getting into bigger things. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's really good. I think especially good mornings. Oh, when I used to get good morning texts, oh, are you thinking about me? I mean, even though those texts could have been a mass text, a string of women, even though I could have been a part of a long list of women, it still felt good. It still felt good to get a good morning text. And if we haven't learned anything through the pandemic, we've learned how important hugging and touching is. There are so many people who are able to touch it all. And like now, I don't know what company it is, but I've been seeing these ads on YouTube. This company that's has created this gown you put on, and the other person has a gown, and you hug. And when you hug each other, you hug the gown, the other person can feel your hug. Ooh. How inventive is that?
That is
because
cool.
There's people who they still can't be together, but because of the Rona. And then also they live in, different places. They can't travel yet. And so they can't see each other. So physical touch is so important. A lot of senior citizens didn't get to have physical touch. So when you're in the same house together, why would you not take advantage of that blessing that you have that other people don't get to have? And so, and I also know from my own experience that as soon as the physical part and my marriage started to, go away, that's when it became easier to walk away, because we weren't holding hands, we weren't hugging, we weren't kissing. It was like we weren't even sleeping in the same beds. So what brought us together when we were sad or lonely or horny or whatever, is now something that is keeping us apart. And so physical touch is very important. Even a touch on the hand. I mean, I know a lot of women love this, when your spouse or your partner walks up to you from the back and touch you on your back. Woo!
That's the thing. It's like that spot.
What's coming down? Who is that? Woo!
Start cooking, start whipping it up.
Okay. You want to go to the room? You want to go?
You got 10? You got 10? You got a quick 10?
You got 10? You got 5? You got 3? You got.
I know you got to get to work, but it's early. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's so important. I think it's so important to touch each other, kiss each other, at least make a point to say, kiss each other every time you leave the house. That was one thing that was very important when I was married, that he always made sure that he came and kissed me before he left the house. Because he was in the military, and I never knew when he would not come back home. Because sometimes they wouldn't even know they're about to go underway or go out for 3 weeks or training. It would be like, oh, he went to work, and then I get a call on that day, and oh, hey, we had to go out because something happened. So we had to leave the dock, and we'll be back tomorrow. We'll be back in 2 days. And you just don't never know. Dang, so yeah, you just, especially the military wife or a husband, you just don't know. So it is very important to kiss, touch, hug, good morning, good night, I love you, whatever. Yeah. You want to be seen. So that's some really good advice. See?
Dude, we are killing it with our research today. What you got? What's our last dating joint?
All right. My last dating one it says go on better dates. So from
yes, yeah. Okay, I can't wait to hear this description.
This is from truthfinder.com. So dating resolutions to make 2022 the best year yet. Truthfinder.com says to go on better dates. They said that you should challenge yourself to find better alternatives to the typical let's meet up and have a drink date. Come up with creative ways, like a picnic in the park or visiting a museum, can help you connect with your date on deeper levels. Plus, you'll have way more fun. Yeah. I 100% agree with this, because there is one little hiccup that I think that a lot of women make, myself included, is meeting up with someone for drinks. And it's your first meeting. And if you are like me and a drink lowers your inhibitions and you have one little too many, you're like, oh, okay, this drink went from we having a good time to, hey, you want to go back to my place type things. And you don't want that. And drinks also make you not recognize red flags. You know, because you're not really, you're starting to go, oh yeah, this drink feeling good. And so you're just laughing and you're giggling and you're not asking the right questions. It's not like you have to be an interviewer, you know, but you want to make sure you ask the right questions. You want to see the vibe is really there. And a drink can basically, you know, cloud your judgment on if this is a real vibe or is this the alcohol, you know, because then you be blaming it on the alcohol. Like Jamie.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think it's really cool. So I started doing this. I would say, hey, can we meet up and go get a smoothie and, you know, walk around the park, or, you know, even coffee, or let's meet up and go for a walk together. I like to walk, you know, do certain things like that, you know, something active, put golf, you know, mini golf, you know, something fun, because a drink date usually is at night. You know what things happen at night. The freaks come out at night. The freaks come out at night. Hey, the freaks come out at night.
Exactly.
So I think this is really, really, really cool. I 100% agree with this, because if you're doing the same thing the same way, you're not going to get different results. So choose creative ways to go out, like picnics in a park, museum. I haven't done that yet. I think that'd be really cool. If you know, just find out those common interests that you both have, and then try to do them during the day. Or at night, but just in a public setting where you're not drinking. I mean, they have so many new things now, like Dave and Buster's, and they have go-karting inside. They have axe throwing now. That's like the new thing out here.
I know. I've been seeing people. They be throwing them axes.
Yeah, throwing an axe or whatever. Get all that, you know, that aggression out. You know, whatever was during your day, and then you can laugh and fun. I think that's a really, really good idea. What do you think?
Yeah, I like that a lot. One other I was trying to think about, like, so there were very few times in my life where I did like, let me meet you kind of dates. For whatever reason, you know, when I was in college, usually it was like a girl that I knew for a little while and she decided she liked me. It's like, okay, so we kind of already have a vibe already. And that's kind of happened. But there was one time that I had a friend who was like, you know what, man, I know this one girl. I think y'all would have a really good time together. She's down to go on a date with you. You plan the date. And I was like, okay, man, what do I want to do? And we went to Dave and Buster's. And it was so fun, man. Like, we had a really good conversation. We had a good time playing like video games and whatever other kind of fun little games that they had. And, you know, like there were certain games that she was really good at. I was like, dang, okay, this is cool. You know, and she kind of started talking about her future plans. But so, yeah, it was like, it makes better conversations happen. And there was a lot less pressure. There wasn't like this, like, all right, man, I gotta, it's getting around that time. Let me see, like, are we going? Right. You know, you're not even thinking about that. You're really just having a good time. It's cool. Yeah. And when you're done, you know, you'll feel the vibe, but it's not like a pressure vibe. It's like all right, this was fun. This is cool, man. I want to do this again. Because you might actually be doing something that you really like, you know? So, yeah. I
and you can see if the other person is, you know, if they're really into you, because it's different when anybody can go out and have dinner, you know, anybody can go out and have lunch and have a drink or whatever, but to do something that's like, you know, that's fun and may challenge you to, you know, step out of your comfort zone, it lets you know the person's really into you, because then they have to have conversation with you that's nothing about work or school or, oh, this food is good, you know, you start having like stupid talk, like, ooh, how was your salmon? I'm like, really? You don't, who cares?
It's like the seasoning's a little low. They could have caramelized this better. Who cares?
Yeah, I mean, because there are some people who don't ever really tap into their child, the inner child in them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. That was good. And I don't know if you ever seen this, but
and so like Dave and Buster's, like you said, fun, you know?
Yeah. Sorry, I think we were like talking at the same time. I don't know. Have you ever seen this? This is so hilarious to me, and it happened when I like shortly after getting married and then going on dates with my wife, not girlfriend. I would look and I would see people on dates. You know, like get to know you dates. And I'll be looking at them like, man, they got so much pressure right now. They probably not even enjoying this date.
Right.
But I remember my wife and I, we were so relaxed, so chill, just like, you know, making fun or whatever. Or did you ever see that? This movie with Tina Fey and the guy from The Office.
Steve Carell?
His name? Yeah, Steve Carell. And it's called Date Night. You seen that movie? Yeah, and they had something that they would do on their dates where they were like being the voices of the other people at the tables and stuff. And that was hilarious, man. It's like, dude, see, that's how dates should be, where you're having fun. You don't have a lot of pressure. So yeah, I'm all for this. Let's do it.
I think if you start off laughing, it'll continue, you know, in your dates, you know, not to say that fun date is going to be the person you marry, but at least you know what you want. At least you can figure out that person really is likes to have fun. Cause there are some people who are so strung up, so tight, they don't even know to have fun. And you can go out with them and they still not even in it. You can be doing so much to have fun with them. And they're like, oh, okay. And that's when you know, okay, they're not really here to have fun. They're really here to get something out at the end of the day, you know? Especially women. You have to be careful of that. If a man is not really into you, he's not going to have fun with you, and he's going to wait until the end of the night to see where he can go with you, you know? See how far he can go. You go, you're having a really good time. He's like, okay. Yeah, and then at the end of the night, okay, so what are you doing later? No.
You wasn't here for the whole day. Now you trying to show up?
You weren't trying to do nothing. You weren't trying to have fun, and now I'm going home. I'm gonna go see if I can make another date with somebody else. Yeah. So yeah. All right. So what's your last one?
Okay. So the last one I have now. This one is a good one. That's not dealing with the positive parts of your relationship, but it's actually dealing with the negative. But it's helpful. Okay. Call time outs.
Ooh,
Call time outs. If you find yourself in the middle of a heated debate, and both of the people's tempers are flaring, don't be afraid to call time out before stuff goes downhill, right? And it's really simple. The expert, I don't know, I'm putting up a quotes. It was a real expert, a real doctor, says this: you can do this. State the importance of the conversation and the desire to come back together. And then you can say it like, okay, look, I want to keep talking about this, but I'm getting too upset right now. And so I'm going to take a break for an hour or whatever time frame you want. But let's meet back after that and we can continue talking. Because it does a couple of things. One, it lets your partner know that they're going to have more time to be heard about what they're saying. That was the point that they made. But it's going to happen after you get yourself a chance to cool down. It's not just like this anger thing where you really aren't going to be able to be as effective as if you were chill and calm down, you know? And I have definitely had that conversation with my wife because I'm a person like I like to get it done. Oh, we had an issue. We're going to talk about it now and we're going to hammer this thing out. Her personality is more chill, more laid back. She needs to process stuff. If she's forced into that, then she's going to fly off the handle. I remember because we had a situation that there was something, I don't remember the specific thing, but it annoyed me so bad. And I was like, man, I'm going to deal with this right now. First of all, I was blind because I wasn't even thinking about both perspectives. I was just thinking about myself and how I was annoyed. I said all my stuff, I unloaded, and her response was, Well, if you don't like it, live by yourself.
Ooh.
Spicy. Me not being calm and cool and realizing, bro,
right.
This is not literal. You are being ridiculous right now. You're making me, you're making all of our kids, everybody, you're making us feel very unwanted and underappreciated. And we do not like how you're acting. You need to chill right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I did? I was like, fine. I remember with this, the conversation happened when my son was maybe 2 years old or one and a half, something like that. And we were about to go out somewhere. So we had all this. My wife says, if you don't like it, live by yourself. I was like, fine. I got up from where I was sitting. I got my jacket on and I just took off down the road. And I was walking. Wow. And I was walking and I was so angry. Like, I don't even know where I was going. I literally I just got my jacket, left the house and started walking down the street. And I was like, man, I don't know if I have to, I'm gonna go stay in a hotel tonight. Cause I was just angry. And the only reason I came back at the time, like right away, is cause my son, see, this is how God be working. My son saw me walking away and he didn't know what was going on. He was like, Dad, where are you going? Come back here. And when he said that, it kind of like shook me out of my trance of anger. And I was like, man, bro, stop being stupid. Go deal with this situation. And I went back.
Right.
My wife didn't say anything, but I could see in her face, she was kind of worried, like for real. She was like, dude, is this freaking dude about to actually leave right now? What is his problem?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that really only happened because there was no cooler heads. There was not like all right, understand the context of what we're both mad right now. We're saying some stuff that we might feel it in the moment, but it's not necessarily what we really mean. But we're angry and this is how we express it. So chill on that, take some moments and then come back when you talk. Because every time that's happened since, we have calmed down, or we'll either approach it calmer. That's when it's really been getting good. We approach it calmer in the first place. But if it does start to get kind of like, ooh, we're getting a little heated here, we calm down, we chill, and we talk about it later. And it always resolves very quickly and very reasonable. Right. You know? So learn how to call them timeouts, folks.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah. That's very important because everybody doesn't communicate the same way or handle confrontation the same way. And so I went through this recently as far as like, because sometimes you can like push. And if you push too much, then a person can shut down. You can trigger something in them that they've experienced in a past relationship. And especially in the dating world, they may automatically think, well, I'm not really committed to this person. So I've seen this before. I'm not going to see this again, you know, and they'll put the walls up. And then when you finally realize, you know what? I shouldn't have pushed them too much. And then when you try to, because their walls have gone up, they've been triggered so fast. And so you have to know, okay, when you can tell it's getting intense or someone says, you know, I don't really want to talk about this right now, just say, okay, let's put a pin in it. And we'll talk about it later, or get off the phone with them and say, okay, well, call me back later when we both calm down, or like you said, give each other a time limit. Okay, how about we come back to this in an hour or 2 hours, 3 hours? And what I learned from my pastor in Florida, he said that him and his wife, they decided in their marriage to have a word, like a word that would allow them to know, okay, it's not that deep. Don't have to talk about it right now. Let's come back to it.
Pineapple.
Yeah. Pineapple. Pineapple.
Strawberry cheesecake.
I know, right? Something crazy. I think something. Yeah. So I think it should be a word that is so crazy that would make you all laugh, and that would make you take a step back. Like, I think I want my word to be supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, and it's like when I say it. It's because you have to really take your time to say that.
Yeah.
Say,
And you're like processing it. You're like, okay.
Oh, okay. This is not that serious. What?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what? And so, yeah, it's like as soon as you hear your spouse or your partner say that word, you go, okay, I know I need to take a breather, take a step back. You know, they don't want to talk about this right now, but just don't put it off too long, you know, because you don't want it to like.
Yeah. That's the one. That's the one thing to that I really like from this. Give the time limit.
Yeah.
That's very good because it can be put off forever.
Yeah. And don't go and talk about it with someone else.
Oh,
don't go and talk about it with someone else. Because you need to make sure that you get it right with your partner first.
Yes.
Do not go talk, because as soon as you go tell your mama or your daddy or your friend, they're going to try to put their own little spill on it. And you're like, you know what? You're right. You know what? You're right. Because they're basically going to boost you up. They're not going to, if they are the right kind of person. If they're not the right kind of person, that's what they're going to do. If they're the right person, they're going to say, you know what do you think about it? Because the person that's in your corner who wants to see your relationship be a success, they're going to redirect you back to your spouse or your partner.
Yeah.
They're not gonna, be that person who's like, yeah, you know what? We should go out to the club tonight. You know what? Get them. You know, he's trash and garbage. Yeah, you know what? You shouldn't even be with him anyway. You know, his mama got a whole goatee. You know, whatever, blah, blah, blah. You know, and just, you know.
Yeah.
You don't want that. So, when you put it off, y'all have to agree. You're not gonna talk about nobody else. The only other person you talk about it is God, to be honest.
Yeah.
Go to God about it and be like, you know what, God, she said this, he said that, and I'm in my feelings. So let me see it from their point of view, so I won't be coming back to them with trying to prove my right instead of trying to understand them, so we can get our relationship back together. Because we're on a team and we're trying to win this thing together. So
right. One thing that I had couples say at like in the marriage ceremony, but you could do it for any relationship. I had this phrase that they say, "This is our relationship," and I'll say it like this, stressing each word. This is our relationship. Like this is the one that we're dealing with. We're not dealing with theirs over there, theirs over there. It's this one right here. Right. This is our relationship. Right. Keep them out of it. It's you and I. We're working on it. This is our relationship, meaning this is how we're going to connect, interact, all of those things. If you can get each of those stresses in and work on each of those stresses, then you're working on building some solid stuff there.
Yeah. You gotta remember one more thing. My sister's father-in-law married her and her husband. And during their wedding, he said, though, this is what he said. He said, your marriage is your marriage. Mm-hmm. Your problems are your problems. And none of us belong in your marriage or your problems. And I was like, what? That was the first time I ever heard of someone who was doing a wedding, or a pastor, or just somebody who was, what is it called? Or you're not ordained, but love and blah, blah, blah. But he was like, wait a minute, you want this to last? What happens in your marriage is your marriage. Right. Don't be going to tell everybody else. Of course, somebody beating on you or like that. But but if y'all having a fight, that's between y'all two. Mm-hmm. You and basically y'all two and God. And if you need to go see a therapist, go see a therapist. But don't be going to tell your sister, your brother, your mama, or nobody.
Yeah, don't tell all the people that you're going to share this podcast with. Just leave that for the podcast. Otherwise, keep it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man. Hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, shoot, man. Let's finish this off, man. We want to lead the people with some good spiritual stuff, too. You got a verse or anything?
Yes. I got a verse. It's the amplified version. It's 30-33. And it says, if God gives such attention to the appearance of wildflowers, most of which are never even seen, don't you think he'll attend to you, take pride in you, and do his best for you? What I'm trying to do here is to get you to relax, to not be so preoccupied with getting, so you can respond to God's giving. People who do not know God, hold on, where's the rest of the thing? And the way he works, fuss over these things, but you know both God and how he works. Steep your life in God reality, God initiative, and God provisions. Don't worry about missing out. You'll find all your everyday human concerns will be met. I mean, so basically, I took away from that, trust God to be God and everything will be fine. You know, I mean, if you look at it from the King James Version, it basically says, seek God first in all you do.
Yeah.
But this scripture is so important because we're always so focused on what's going on outside in the world and what's going on, blah, 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 blah. God said, don't be preoccupied with all that. Yeah. Don't be preoccupied. Don't focus yourself back on him. Trust God. God's going to take care of you. And so in the dating world, if you desire a husband or a wife, if you're desire to be in a long-term relationship, just you make those things idols, because then you'll end up making the wrong decisions with the wrong people, and then you'll be getting a divorce, or you'll be or you're having a bad breakup and having to heal and start all over again. So yeah. Facts. What's your scripture?
My scripture is 1 Peter 4:8. It says, above all, keep loving one another earnestly.
Yes.
Since love covers a multitude of sins. It's like, bro. And I think the key word in there for me is earnestly. Like, don't fake it.
Yeah.
Like, earnestly means be honest with your feelings. You know, be open, try, make your partner your priority. If you're doing all of those things, if your love is fueled and shaped in that way, then you're going to be a lot more invested in the person. And when it comes to some slip ups, some mistakes, you're going to be able to work with it more because you have developed your bond, you developed a commitment, you're working together. So I really challenge myself and others,
right.
Whatever stage of relationship you're in, do it like as honestly and as like wholeheartedly as you can. I think that's going to make the experience the best for you, you know. And there might be some heartbreak in there sometimes, but you know, it is a worthwhile sacrifice, because the alternative is that you're going to have a great relationship. And if you're trying to like guard yourself because you're trying to block something that potentially may happen, you're going to miss out on a great relationship. I feel like more often than not, if you're honest and you're giving your whole heart, your relationship is going to be It's going to be good, you know? So yeah.
Right. That's good. That's good.
Yeah. 2022, y'all.
Yeah. 2022. I just had one quote that came to my head while you were talking. And my quote is from me. So it's kind of like a tip, I would say. So I'm saying to you, y'all, is to get to know you first before you get to know other people. Because if you don't know you, then they will definitely not know you.
Ooh.
I mean, so basically, date yourself first. That's one that we didn't talk about. But yeah, date yourself first. Because if you don't know what you want, then you try and talk to somebody else, and then they're never going to know what you want because you don't even know. You ever been with someone or you're a group of people and you go, what you want to eat? I don't know.
Oh
I don't know. I don't know what you want. I'm like, you do not know what you want to eat? Yeah, you asking what I want to eat. Shrimp tacos.
Yes, no. Let's go.
Shrimp tacos and some arroz con frijoles. Give me that with a good, nice thing of wine.
And I'll find something there. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yep, that's it for today, y'all.
That's it for today, y'all. 2022, jumping off with a bang, literally and figuratively.
Yeah. Oh, I love you, Mom. I mean, I know I said I was screening your calls, but I love you still. Don't.
Let it be said. Let it be noted. Yeah.
So people might say.
On that note, see you next time, people. Much love and blessings. All right. Let me
it's a blessing to have your